Matthew was probably primarily written for the author's church, for his own ministry, his own teaching ministry, probably, so that they would have a collection of the life and teachings of Jesus, a collection of the gospel, or a written gospel. Um, Possibly it could have been written as an evangelistic tool as well, and even as a proclamation itself for whoever reads it. Books weren't broadly printed as they are now back then. It was very expensive to reproduce books. However, with the New Testament starts a new era in manuscript copy. Everything was handwritten back then. But there's such a prolific copying of the New Testament that everybody's copying it and passing it around and sharing it all over the world. That's sort of something that the Christians pioneered. It's a precursor sort of to when the printing press was invented, and now we just start printing it. And now it's all digital and electronic, so it's super easy. But yeah, books were not readily available. However, there's a lot of evidence that the Gospels and the other New Testament documents were broadly copied and distributed. So another possible reason or purpose for the writing of the Gospel, which I already mentioned a little bit, but to have a record of the life and teachings of Jesus, particularly his teachings, but then also how he fulfilled the Old Testament, some of the things that we're talking about. Matthew is presenting that. Matthew, remember we said the Gospels are history, but they're history, particularly historical narrative, right? So it's telling the story. It's not just a list of things, but it's a history motivated by theological concerns. So throughout this introduction to the Gospel of Matthew, we have been looking at what Matthew's theology was. What is Matthew presenting? What is he teaching us about Jesus and the way that he writes? Everything from what he writes to how he writes and his style, right? And then a fourth possible reason is that to provide an apologetic. Apologetic means a defense, proof that Jesus is the Messiah and the Son of God, that he is himself divine, that he is God with us, and that if he is who he says he is, and he did what he said he did, including rising from the dead, then Christianity is true, and what Matthew is teaching is true.